Welcome back to Moko Plays Satisfactory. Last episode we set up this rather smart little coal power plant which has solved our power needs for the moment. So we've got 8 generators here giving us 600 megawatts and that combines with the biomass burners we've got back at our main base, which are still up and running there, and they'll kick in if we need them. So we're in a relatively good place for power now. The next thing that I want to do is to take a look at our next tiers of unlocks, and I think that puts us on the path towards starting to make steel, which we'll need for various things, including the next tier of belts, so getting Mark III belts, as well as we need steel as a prerequisite to make some of those space elevator parts for phase 2. As you can see in the top right, we haven't made any progress towards the middle 2, the versatile framework and the automated wiring, possibly? Something like that. Cool, so here we are in tier 3. We've done coal power and we've done enhanced asset security. Nothing in tier 4 unlocked as yet. So we've got vehicle transport to get. Depending how far away our steel is, this might actually be useful. I'm a little bit in two minds as to whether going with tractors and trucks is a worthwhile exercise, or whether we should just try and tough it out and wait for trains. I'm not sure when trains come, but I assume it's in phase 5 and 6 here. And blueprints might also be useful for us to get. We might be able to do a kind of easier job of a setup of steel if we have some blueprints to work with. The game wants us to do steel first because there's a requirement for steel beams to unlock the blueprint designer, but we could always just spend some tickets and get those in the shop. Yeah, I think we'll get vehicles and we'll get steel production. We'll go over and set some steel up, and then we'll see whether we actually have a real need to use tractors and trucks to transport that steel back to main base or to wherever we're going to do the build for these more complex parts. Okay, let me grab what we need for this milestone. So off-stream, made a little bit of progress, went a little further down a couple of the Mamtech trees. So I've now unlocked the Blade Runners, found some extra quartz around the place, so I made some silica. Still don't have ongoing quartz production, I've just been finding little nodes here. But certainly nice to be able to run faster and jump further and take less fall damage, so this really makes the game much easier to navigate. And I got the rebar gun as well. Really haven't messed with any of the melee weapons, kind of beyond the this thing, whatever this is called, because I rarely play the game with combat on, but I am doing this time, and it's been a little handy actually to have that gun as I've been exploring the world. So yeah, one thing that I did want to do in this playthrough, differently than I previously have played Satisfactory, is to like not ignore the combat. And it's been okay so far. I don't think it's stellar, but it does kind of provide an interesting sort of extra layer of strategy when it comes to world exploration, and something different than just running around grabbing leaves and stuff as well. So I don't hate it.
Milestone reached. Tractors permit pioneers to move around the world in a manner similar to using legs, except with wheels and the rampant consumption of natural resources. They can also be automated to self-drive and deliver resources between truck stations, which in turn facilitate automation of loading, unloading, and refueling.
Neat. Okay, for the next milestone we need some rotors, we need some modular frames, concrete, and wire. And in a general sense, I need some reinforced iron plates for Mark II belts. And yeah, I think that's maybe all the basics that we need. got concrete, got plates, got rods, screws, reinforced plates, cables. We could probably use a few more of. Oh, and sheets. I probably used quite a lot of sheets. Not as many as I thought, actually, doing that power plant build. Cool. And while we're waiting for that pod to come back, we can just craft a few extra things here. So got some slugs that we can turn into power shards. And got some proteins from various aliens that we can just sink. I'm not sure if there's another use for the proteins in the DNA capsules, actually. It's worth having a look at. Used for medical purposes. Oh, okay, I think you use it if you go down the the tech tree where you make inhalers and stuff. What's the other thing called? DNA capsule. Just used for research and for coupons. Okay, cool. Well, let's see what's in that alien DNA tech tree before I sync all of these. Oh, right, and I left a hard drive scanning as well. I don't think either of those is brilliant, so we'll rescan that. Oh, it goes instantly. Nice. Then definitely iron wire, please. Okay, we want to keep a few around to get the expanded tool belt. I'll unlock these for completeness, but really these never seemed worth the effort of crafting inhalers when you heal over time. Anyway, never seemed particularly worth it to me. Cool, and yes, got a couple of extra Mercer spheres while I was out as well. That's something to do with Samor, right? We should keep an eye out for that stuff as we're running around the world. Okay, so let's craft these. So let's get the steel milestone unlocked.
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the space elevator is essential if we are going to complete phase 2 of project assembly and save the day. Fix It and humanity is relying on you.
Yes, and also puppies and kittens and things, right? Cool. Is there anything else we want to look at while we're here? I think everything else requires steel in some way. Yes, it does. So, steel requires foundries, which we now have access to. These take 2 solid inputs, but they're like raw inputs, so this is like a 2-input smelter. So it's going to take, for the steel recipe, it's going to take in coal and iron. 45 of each gives us 45 steel ingots. I think there might be a better alternative recipe out there for this, but since we don't have that, we'll probably set up with this in mind and then think about upgrading later. So we want to be somewhere where there's iron and somewhere where there's coal. And these take some rotors, modular frames and concrete to build, all of which we've got. I can't see us needing to make 10 foundries. So yeah, we're probably good on resources. So the next question is, where do we want to go to build? So we need coal. We know there's some over here, but really it makes more sense if we save that for future power expansion. Given that's near our power infrastructure, it's near the water as well. There's some down here, and that's pure, which is good. And one here. And so, I wonder, is there iron around there as well? There's iron in most places. It's the most common resource on the map. I'm not sure how many hits the scanner node thing gives us. Let's head in that direction, and then we'll rescan for iron and see if it seems like there's any around there. And if there is, that's probably our best bet, because they're pure nodes, and it's not stepping on the toes of our power build. Alright, well, this is the general area that we were looking towards. A couple of points of interest around here. First up, we've got this drop pod. There was some hogs guarding this, but I was able to make it through, while taking a little bit of damage. Second thing is we are nearby water, and we've got what looks like... Oh, I don't know what that is. I thought that was going to be quartz. Maybe that's Sam. No, maybe we're about to get some strange alien material? Yeah, let's see in terms of iron. Okay, pure nodes, and they're not too far away. So yeah, I think this this makes sense as probably somewhere convenient between the coal and the steel. Will the coal and the iron, sorry, will set up our steel production. Cool. This drop pod needs power. Now we're gonna run power over here anyway. But there is a kind of quick and easy way to get into these things. So the drop pods all have like different requirements for what they need to get into them. Some will be like, hey, you need to give me 10 rotors or 6 supercomputers or something like that. The idea being that you can't always get into them when you get there. But with this one, if you find one that kind of needs power, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to extend your main power grid over here. Satisfactory lets you have multiple power grids. And given that we only need 120 megawatts here, what we can do is just set up a very quick and easy biomass power. I don't have any space for any leaves, so we'll just drop a couple of things. And connect that, and then we can just grab a few things, and it only needs to have the power for like as long as it takes us to open the pod. So yeah, doesn't really need much time at all. Oh, in fact, I had solid biofuel and wood on me that I could have used. Oh. So I'm just going to split that 4 ways. And then when we throw the fuse again... But why? Oh, because I forgot to hook that one up. There we go. And we're in. And then we can just tear all this down. What I will do is just quickly set up a crafting bench, and we can turn all of these into protein, and then they'll take up less space in the inventory, because I've got different types. I mean, we've got spitters and we've got hogs. Okay, is there anything else I don't really need? Probably don't need quite that many iron plates. Cool. And one other point of interest around here, if he's still hanging around, there was a lizard doggo, and one thing I haven't done yet is to try and tame one. Gosh darn it, you're not the animal I was looking for. I don't know where you are, but you sound close. There you are. No, I have been unable to find our friend, which is a sad time, but we'll get on with the task at hand, and I'm sure we'll run into one sooner or later. So this presumably is one of the coal nodes. Oh, no, apparently they're all behind me. And something wants to fight. What is fight and where is fight? Oh, there is fight. Hello. I can take him, I think. I'm not so convinced I can take him. But it turned out I could, in fact, take him. This inventory space is doing my head in. Right, let's get rid of stuff that we don't need. Okay, here is coal. Nice. And this is pure coal. Cool. Well, let's get a miner down on this. Oh, there are so many animals. Not talking about the giraffe tick beanie boys, they're fine. Hey, this is Sam. Cool. Let's see what this gives us.
The strange alien matter, colloquially known as SAM, seems to be in its dormant crystalline state, meaning it won't break down your body into its base atomic components on touch.
Oh, nice.
This living matter is extremely versatile and has countless applications. Research it in the MAM to establish locally appropriate classification and application, as well as a secure method of awakening.
I have just seen friend over there. Where's he running into the water? Stop it, friend. Friend is hungry? Yeah, he is. Look at him. Good boy. Okay, now find me cool things and do not bring me nuclear waste. Okay? Deal? Deal. Okay. Back to business at hand. Just going to set up a mining operation. Here, let's get a miner down on this thing. And we'll just send it into storage. And I've no idea when we're going to be back here and want to make use of this in volume, so we'll just make sure that we're getting plenty of it out. Which direction is our coal in? That way. Cool. It's all good. Right. Okay, we'll put those on one grid. I think what I want to do now is run back to base well, either to base or coal power, whichever's nearest. Probably coal power, actually. And run our power line over here so we can start getting some stuff up and producing. So yeah, I'll do that. We'll spin forward a bit and then go and claim that iron node and get some steel production up. That sounds like a plan. Alright, that's us with power now running to this SAM mining and to our coal miner over there. We want to be heading in this direction to get the iron, but first I am curious about this SAM. So let's take a look in the MAM.
Strange alien matter analysis completed. Dormant crystalline SAM can now be found with the resource scanner. In its dormant state, it is safe to handle without special equipment and can be stored indefinitely. Research for enabling the reanimation of dormant SAM is now available.
Fill the rivers with blood and let the effigies defile our temples. The sun will follow.
Okay. These guys have, that escalated quickly.
SAM reanimation recipe unlocked. SAM can now be safely awakened, provided it is contained. Meaning, if not contained in special electromagnetic storage, it tends to start breaking atomic bonds of any matter it has physical contact with, and reconstructing it into easily transportable resources.
Scripture and blood compose harmony. Follow our hallowed temple halls and listen to the echoes of your ripples. Our bones are more beautiful.
How dare you? Okay, so we now need to make 10 of this reanimated Sam, which we can handcraft. Nice. Cool. This game is being mean sometimes, though. Saying I don't have beautiful bones.
SAM Fluctuator recipe unlocked. The fluctuator can mimic unique communication through patterns of electric frequencies to instruct reanimated SAM to perform specific tasks or give specific restrictions, such as matter to energy conversion. It can also function as matter memory, reading the exact composition and state of a collection of matter in one location, breaking it down, and near instantly reconstructing it in another location, which has incredible potential for smart storage.
Your threads shift solid to fluid to a tapestry. Matter and matter of matter and mind and melody.
Yes, quite. Cool. Well, seems like we're actually on the cusp of being able to do stuff with the cloud storage, which is neat. We need a few more of these things. We need a Mercer which we have back at base, so... oh, that's so neat. Anything to do with the SAM and the alien tech, like the icon glitches out while it's in your inventory. That's really cool. Yeah, what we'll probably do then is just keep going with this steel build and get that all up and running, and then head back to base, unless we run into a Mercer along the way, but if not, we'll grab one from base and take a look at this cloud storage stuff, because that seems like it would solve my gripes with running out of space in the inventory constantly. Okay, so next thing we really need to think about then is getting this coal and the iron that we've not yet claimed and putting those kind of, you know, near each other. This I assume is on red because its internal buffer's full. Oh, because no power. Oh, yeah, I knocked it down and changed direction to point it more in the direction that we're going. So let's just assume we're going to want this to be kind of somewhere vaguely in this direction. There's the iron ore. And another one there. Okay, so we probably want to build this over, drop this down with some conveyor lifts. Maybe we'll just run a big ramp from here down to there, actually, and make it easier for us and the resources to go along that way. That's probably the more sensible way of doing things. And we'll run power along as we go. Yeah, so I'll get started on that, and we'll skip forward and pick up when we've got some means of getting up and down from here. Alright, here's us with what we need to get going with steel. So let me just extend this out a little bit so we can see. So down here we have our pure iron node, Mark 1 miner on that, and we've just brought power in. and then using a conveyor belt lift to lift that up to the platform we're going to work on here. From the other side of the platform, we have our coal coming in from the location we were at just before. So this big old ramp up is bringing our coal down and our power from that location where we've got the coal and the SAM miners set up as well. And then this platform here is where we're going to get going with foundries. So the foundry, similar sort of footprint to the assembler, so I work on the basis of it taking a square and a half in width. Very similar input to the assemblers as well. I drop my splitters in the middle of the tile, and then make sure to nudge this so that it's, if you consider like kind of this bit here to be the edge of the build, make sure it's nudged one square further into this one, and that gives us enough space to either do the curved drop in or to add the conveyor lift if we wanted to do that kind of build. And yeah, recipes wise, we've only got the standard steel ingot now. 45 of each per minute turns into 45. What we've got coming in is 120 of each of these right now, so what we're going to do is place 3 of these and underclock one of them slightly. It should be pretty straightforward. And then we've just got to figure out what we want to do with the steel ingots. We have 2 steel products to make. I've put those in the wrong place. 2 steel products to make. We have steel pipes and we have steel beams. Beams are more useful to us in the short term because we're going to be using those for Mark III belts. Longer term, one of the key things we'll be using steel for is what are they called? The encased industrial beams, which you can, the standard recipe uses steel beams, but there's an alternative recipe that uses steel pipes, assuming that hasn't been changed for 1.0. That's actually the much more efficient recipe. So generally, I would start off using more steel. Of the steel we've got available, I would use more of it to make beams in the short term and fewer pipes, and then at a certain point to switch that, so to be making more pipes than beams, and use the pipes in that alternate recipe for the encased industrial beams. I've said the word beams way too much now, and it's lost all meaning. But yeah, this build's, you know, pretty straightforward, to be honest. It's not, there's nothing particularly different here than what we were doing with assemblers in the iron build. The bigger challenge here is getting to somewhere where there's coal and iron nearby and kind of navigating the landscape. So doing these, you know, longer runs and getting around a bunch of animals and, you know, building all of likes of this stuff, which is our connection between that's our coal power station and that's the ramp that takes it up to where we've got the coal and stuff. So we're actually like quite spread out at this point. Where over here, that's the coal we were just looking at. That's the coal power station. That's the space elevator and the hub. So we're starting to consume more space here. Hence why one thing that I'm thinking about is it worthwhile setting up a truck network to get this steel stuff back to base? We'll see. I'm still mulling that one over. These guys need power, and then they should be good to go. Right, and we want one underclocked, so we've got 90 coming out of the first 2, so this one wants to be making 30 per minute. It would end up kind of balancing itself out that way. Anyway, if we left all 3 of them trying to run at 100%, but by underclocking we're going to save on some of that power draw, so it's worth doing if we know that we've only got a certain amount of inputs to give it. Also just going to drop whatever iron and coal I've got in my inventory from working with belts and stuff, because I've got no need to carry those around with me. So we will be making 120 steel ingots per minute, and the question is, what do we want to turn that into? Steel beams, 60 in, 15 out. Terrible ratio. But we do want quite a few steel beams. Steel pipes, 30 in, 20 out. And we don't need that many steel pipes, so what I'm thinking is we'll do one pipe constructor taking 30 per minute. We'll do 2 beams constructors, one of which is going to be quite starved, but that'll take the other 90 per minute and turn it into like 22.5 per minute, I think, something like that. So we're getting about 20 beams and 20 pipes if we go with that setup. There's more iron near here, there's more coal near where the coal is, so I might come back and scale this out. In fact, I'm very likely to come back and scale this out at some point, but just want to get basic production up and running for now. So that we can, you know, use this stuff. Right, these are going to be coming out here. Then we'll use the next run to split on. Oh boy. These are splitters coming in from that side. Oh, I'm out of reinforced iron plates. That's annoying. I only need it for like this one little run here. I'll set it up with Mark 1s and then probably just handcraft some reinforced plates, given how far away we are from our storage at the moment. Okay, so if we set the first one to pipes, that'll take 30. We'll send the remaining 90 down the run here. So all 60 will go in there, and then the 30 that's left over will come in here. I'm not going to underclock this one, because if we get to the point where our storage from the steel pipe constructor is filled, it means that everything else can just run down here, and this one can actually be making more steel beams for us. So, yeah. Unlike at the start of the build where we know we're never going to have more resource than we've got set up in terms of like having one of these at half clock speed. No benefit at all in leaving that at full clock speed, whereas there is some benefit in not underclocking this last machine here. These two are making the same resource, so we'll just merge those. And then this can all be Mark 1 belts. Oh, I've placed that terribly. These can all be Mark 1 belts because we're only making stuff in relatively small quantities. These guys need power, and I'll just check the recipes on them as well. Pipes, beams, beams, and just going to need like 10 reinforced iron plates or something to upgrade that one short run of Mark 1 belt into Mark 2 belt. So that's fine to be Mark 1. This needs to be Mark 2, and it is. This needs to be Mark 2, and now it is. This needs to be Mark 2, and now it is. And that's fine to be Mark 1. Cool. This should be everything that we need for this build. These guys are still ticking up in terms of efficiency. It takes a few minutes. It's like the efficiency is based on the last however many minutes. So when the build first starts out, and it doesn't have enough resources always to build what it needs to, then it starts low. But these should all tick up towards 100% now, I think. Cool, so this gives us some beams and pipes to work with. The next question is going to be, how do we want to handle the fact that these are stored relatively far away from our base? We've got ramps and stuff that we could run some long conveyors onto. We could run a straight shot conveyor back to base from here, or we could set up trucks. I don't know is the answer, so I'm going to give that some thought offline. But yeah, meantime, what I'm going to do is just kill a little bit of time around here. I'm going to get these to produce a reasonable amount of steel things that I can take back with me, and then we'll go back to base, grab a Mercer Sphere, and have a look at the other alien tech. So let's spin the video forward and catch up once we're back at base. Alright, here we are back at base. We've got a couple of hundred of each steel part, and I grabbed some more SAM stuff. While I was over there, I set up a constructor to make the, whatever it is, the first stage of SAM into the reanimated SAM, so we're producing that automatically now as well. Cool, so yeah, we need a Mercer Sphere. And let's see what this dimensional depot is all about.
Dimensional Depot unlocked. SAM can be utilized to deconstruct matter down to its chemical elements in one dimension, and the Mercer Sphere allows it to be transferred and stored in another. Once parts are fed into the Dimensional Depot, they can be accessed by the Pioneer inventory and build gun system at any time, anywhere.
We see through the window. It is pathetic. Consume more blood. The glass will not shatter. The metal will not bend. The wood will not splinter. Weave.
Interestingly, my doctors have been telling me the same thing, that I'm not consuming as much blood. I think you're supposed to aim for like 8 glasses per day or something like that, and I've been a little shy of that. Interesting. Okay, so I guess this is like the Dimensional Depot, which is a name that is not going to stick with me, so I'm just going to call it Cloud Storage. I guess that's limited in the same way that like personal inventory is. Enables uploading from the inventory. Cool. Oh, and it takes time as well. Huh. I guess they didn't just want to make this be, you know, like a magic... just, you know, completely negate all of the aspects of the game that are about transporting stuff around. Okay, well, I wonder what it takes to build. Oh, meanwhile, I've got a hard drive that we can be scanning. Yeah, curious. Logistics, possibly? No? Organization, probably in there. Dimensional depot. Dimensional depot uploader is used to upload resources to a dimensional storage deposit. From here, resources can be used by the build gun and crafting stations as if they were in the Pioneer inventory. It takes a Mercer sphere. It takes 10 of those SAM fluctuator thingies. That's the third stage of SAM production. I haven't found a way to automate those yet, but they take steel pipes and wire and the stable SAM thingy. And I guess you put it down as if it was a storage container. Presumably this is like everything else where we can kind of place it and mess about with it, and then if we need to destroy it we can get the resources back, I hope. I mean, Mercer spheres are definitely rare. I don't know if there's like a finite amount of them in the world. Okay, so we can drop items in manually, or presumably we can feed in from conveyor. Yeah, cool. And we send 15 per minute. Okay. I mean, in the first instance, this seems like a perfect thing to just drop down at our steel production, right? Combine the steel beams and the steel pipes onto one line, drop them down there, and then it kind of negates the fact that they're so far away from everything else that we've got. This thing doesn't have an output, unlike the storage container. So I think in the pre 1.0 dev streams, they were talking about the fact that it's like, you can't just have it teleport stuff into a production line. You can get it into your inventory, but it doesn't, you know, get rid of the need for drones and trains and trucks and stuff for transporting stuff from one factory to another. But yeah, in the short term, what I'm thinking is if we drop one of these down next to... Drop one of them down next to our steel, and then we can get access to steel from anywhere. It means fewer trips across there. Or we could just combine, like, some amount of all the stuff we've got here from home base into storage, and then, you know, the frustrations I was having with limited inventory size when I'm out exploring and far away from home, and I run out of reinforced iron plates, for example, would disappear. There's also limited size on it as well, right? Okay, I'm going to do some thinking about how I want to use this. Let's see how it does work, though, in the short term. Okay, so yeah, not super fast. There's 2 in there. So then when we open our inventory, on this side we've got this, and you can see it's still kind of ticking away there. And I guess what I'm not sure about is how much space does this thing have? One of the upgrades said something about increasing the storage size, or was it increasing like the bandwidth, the amount of stuff that can be uploaded at one time? Let's see. Stack increase. What does stack increase mean? Enable uploading from inventory. Upload speed faster. Yeah, I can't tell if stack increase is like overall size limit increase, or like number of things that it can take in one go. I assume if we try and drop something else in here now, it won't be happy about it. Yeah, it's just going to overwrite. Oh, so it's saying like I've got 3 of 200 here. And here it's saying I've got 23 of 100. I wonder if that's like per stack, like what happens if we drop in a different amount. We start with 20. 0 of 200, so it is doing it per like normal stack size of that item. Interesting. It's going to take some getting used to with this. If I find one more Mercer Sphere, I can have one at home base here and one over by Steel, so that's probably something that I'm going to want to try and do, I think. And still figure out, you know, steel transport. Okay. Let me drop some of those in. I'm curious what happens when we get up above 100 in there. Will it go to another stack, or will it be like, hey, that's all you can have of this? Last thing that I want to do on today's stream, though, is to take a look at milestones. We should be ready to unlock something else now that we've got some steel going on. Yes, we can get the Blueprint Designer, get Logistics Mark III, start looking at advanced steel production, which we need for the automated wiring. Have we already got the versatile framework, so we can get production of that set up, presumably, as well. All of this seems pretty useful, to be honest. The more I'm ziplining around the place, the more I think that I want to go down the route of power towers for getting myself around. Cool. Well, let's see if we've got what we need to unlock the Blueprint Designer. We should have all of this stuff. I think I've got 200 steel beams. Yes. What do I need? Some modular frames. And a bit more cable. And more concrete.
Milestone reached. Blueprints reduce repetitive building tasks, further optimizing your progression towards saving Earth, with its beautiful ecosystems, abundant natural resources, and sunsets over frolicking puppies and kittens. The Blueprint Designer allows you to build and combine structures once and then duplicate that configuration effortlessly. Any complaints about the spatial restrictions will only reveal your own inefficiencies.
Take that, community. When Coffee Stain added the Blueprint Designer in, I think that was like update 7 of early access, there was some call it a vocal minority of the Satisfactory community that said that this thing, which allows you to build on a 4x4x4 grid, wasn't big enough to handle complex builds. Now, there is a concession made to that in 1.0. There's a later incarnation of the Blueprint Designer which goes up to a 5x5x5 grid. And that should be interesting. It's there is kind of, I can see both sides of the argument, you know, when you've got bigger machines like anything with a blender or anything with the what's it called, the stuff that's used for aluminium, they're kind of like, I forget, they take a liquid input and a solid input and it's got a fairly big footprint. You can't really like do anything blueprinty with those given that amount of space, but similarly, you know, Coffee Stain don't want to negate the entire rest of the game by just saying, hey, you can blueprint everything and then you never have to build a complex build ever again and stuff. So can see both sides, but you know, generally I find the blueprint designer pretty useful, and we'll see how much of a difference it makes when we get to the bigger version. Cool. Hard drive's just completed, so let's take a look at that, and then we'll call this an episode. Stitched iron plate is incredibly useful, much easier, especially now we've got access to that iron wire alternate recipe. It means we can just drop something on an iron node, make plates and wire, and then get to reinforced iron plates pretty quickly. So I'm going to take that one. And yeah, let's leave it there. Next episode, we're going to want to be looking... I'll have a think about the steel transports offline. See if I can find another Mercer as well to do that stuff. And I'll probably get a blueprint designer set up and start to do some basics, and then we'll walk through those at the start of next episode. And potentially we'll do some logistic stuff with trucks or whatever. I don't know. There's plenty we can be doing next. Versatile frameworks is the other thing that we want to get set up. So we'll probably make that a goal for next episode as well. Cool, let's leave it there. Thanks as always for watching, and yeah, look forward to catching up on the next episode of our Satisfactory playthrough. Cheers.